As the automakers shift more of their attention to electric cars run with lithium-ion batteries, lithium miners could easily become the benefactors. Waldo Perez is the president and CEO of Lithium Americas. He joins us in Toronto from his usual base in Argentina. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You're here in Toronto to the middle of the week.
Absolutely.
And a very busy time for you. Tell me about how the joint venture with Magna came along in the first place.
Well, in the first place, some common friends in the banking business came to put us together, and that basically built up a relationship. They have been investing on the private rounds with our company. Right now, they supported us in our recent IPO that was completed 1 month ago.
And tell us what your contribution to the Magna relationship will be.
Our contribution basically is to provide the lithium carbonate that is required to build lithium-ion batteries. So basically we have a business relationship with they own certain equity of our company, and in return they have the right to offtake agreements of up to 25% of the production that we have.
Lithium, is this the new oil for the auto industry?
Well, there is a fundamental difference that everybody has to understand. Lithium is not a fuel, it's actually a storage, right. In order to be able to run the cars. But basically, if cars are run electric, yes, lithium is a very significant component.
And this is a newer technology than the battery technology we're accustomed to already. You know, you have the old nickel-cadmium technology, very heavy, very slow.
Absolutely. Not only that, it's environmentally friendly, it's light, and it's 10 times, it's able to storage more than 10 times more energy than any other battery.
Tell me about where this comes from. You know, Argentina, but there are other places around the world that are now cropping up. Like, for example, today we had a location in the Middle East which could have $1 trillion worth of this stuff in the ground.
Well, lithium is found in two types of environments, in hard rocks and brines. Brine is basically an hypersaline fluid. Because the lithium is dissolved within a fluid, you have to have a very dry environment to host it.
Afghanistan.
That could be. It would be advisable to be in a safe environment too. As a matter of fact, as we know today, about 80% of the lithium brine of the world is in a triangle hosted between Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've got a relationship not only with Magna, but also Mitsubishi.
Absolutely. They are also equity partners, big supporters for us, and we also have a technological agreement with them to share the way to extract and produce what is called lithium-grade, battery-grade lithium.
Mm-hmm. Now, so that almost 40% of what you pull out of the ground goes to these two customers?
Yeah, approximately. That will depend, of course, in the needs that they will have when we are in production. But they have the rights of take approximately that amount of our mine.
How rare is lithium compared to traditional base metals that you would pull out of the ground?
As a matter of fact, it's not that rare. So there is a lot of lithium worldwide. The issue is the following: in order to process the lithium, the brine, that hypersaline fluid that is usually in salars environments, has to be chemically clean. So there are some components like magnesium that are actually pollutants to the lithium production. So you don't only need lithium and lithium in enough amount, but you also need a clean brine. And of course, having paved roads and proper infrastructure helps a lot to the projects.
Something that you can offer over, say, anybody who would put a shovel in the ground in Afghanistan to try to pull $1 trillion worth of stuff out of the ground.
Yeah, well, you can go even to closer examples like the one that is in Uyuni, Bolivia, also have very difficult infrastructure challenges to face, say.
What's your exploration schedule?
Our exploration schedule is, well, we have just launched the press release today. We are on a very aggressive exploration timeline, and by the end of the year, we just produced an inferred resource, 43101 compliant, of 4.9 million tons of lithium carbonate, which is approximately the 6th largest lithium deposit in the world under that standard. And we will be updating our resource before the end of the year.
Give us a sense, wrap our heads around this. You know, how many cars could you build with that kind of resource?
Oh my goodness. That's a difficult question because it depends on the size of the car.
Oh, okay.
No,
Right.
just to give you an example, a resource like almost 5 million tons of lithium carbonate would be enough to build the largest lithium mine in the world and run it for 100 years.
So you're not worried about running out of the stuff?
No.
But there's a certain commoditization that I can imagine comes with this metal as a result of more of it being found elsewhere.
Absolutely, and that usually, as always is in the mining business, is the best will survive, and this is common. So you have to have the ore, you have to have the grade, you have to have the infrastructure, you have to have the buyer. Lithium is not like gold that you can sell in a corner store. You have to have the partners to develop this kind of projects, and your product has to have the right purity, the right chemical composition, and even the right grain size. So it is more than just pumping it out of the ground.
So if almost 40% of your expected production is already earmarked, who else do you turn to? Are there uses outside of the auto industry? You know, I've got a digital camera at home, but I can't imagine the lithium component of my battery is sufficient enough to move the needle on your bottom line.
Absolutely, and actually, yes, there are many buyers, and we are still talking with more people, and actually one of our partners, which is Mitsubishi, is also a very large trading house in Japan, and part of our agreements is that they will help us on that side. But definitively, producing lithium, it's something that you don't sell to the end user, you are selling to somebody that is building lithium batteries.
Much like you don't sell copper to the end user, it's used as an industrial metal, nickel, zinc, etc. So is this a product that becomes, as years move on, actively traded on a commodities exchange?
Absolutely, that's what we are ending. Right now it's an oligopoly. Basically, there is only 2 or 3 large sellers of the product, and that's it. You couldn't imagine there is more battery manufacturers than lithium producers, and that's actually weird. That's not usually the way it happens. So I can clearly see more producers coming online as the market grows, definitively.
Tell me about the environmental component of this, because as you point out, there is a certain chemical process necessary to go through. How do you ensure that you stay within the confines of what will be attractive to the final consumer? Because people will say, oh, I don't want to buy an electric car if it means ultimately that they're doing more damage to the environment than good.
Absolutely. Well, the electric car has a fantastic advantage over the combustion engine. You are basically having zero emission. Now, we should take into account that electricity is being generated somewhere for you to run on zero emission. So it's not a Zoom zero example, but definitively it is a lot more energy, from the energy perspective, a lot more reasonable to make, for example, hydropower converted into your car on your everyday mobility than doing in a small combustion engine. So the environmental component, I think, we have a tremendous support from either government and environmentally friendly and conscious people that want to consume this.
Well, fascinating conversation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Waldo Perez, President and CEO, Lithium America, is joining us here in studio.